If you're sitting the AQA English Language Paper 1 exam tomorrow, stop scrolling. These 6 common mistakes are things you want to avoid, and you could boost your marks dramatically if you do so. These are errors that examiners see every year, so let's make sure you avoid them. In question 1, you have to select information from within the lines specified in the question. In both the summer and resit exams last year, some students got 0 marks because they took ideas from within the wrong lines. To help, draw a box around the lines stated in the question. Question 2 is the language analysis question. You should avoid using overly long quotations. Focusing on short quotations allows for a more concentrated analysis of their meaning and impact. Keep quotations short. Also, the 2024 exam report pointed out that some students failed to write about effect, so remember this. Sometimes we spot something, for example in our source, Night of November, and we might think, oh, there's alliteration, I'll write about that. But just because you spot a language feature, it doesn't mean it's the best thing to write about. There is always way more in the extract than you can write about in around 10 minutes, and you need to ask yourself, can I analyse the effect or explain a reason behind the writer's choices? If not, choose something else to look at. Question 3 is the structure analysis question, and in 2024 a lot of students only wrote about one single part of the extract, for example just the opening lines, and this is a problem that comes up time and time again. It's important to note the word in bold here, whole. You're being asked to write about the whole of the source, and if you only write about one bit, you're limiting the marks you can achieve. This question is about how things shift and change and develop across the extract, so you shouldn't just write about one moment in the text. Moving on to question 4, and you must remember this second bullet point, how the writer creates the impression you're writing about. That means methods. You must analyse methods in this question, but just like in question 2, if you spot a method, you need to ask yourself if you can link it to the topic of the question. For example, in our sample paper, the missed played tricks, that's personification, and I think we could link that to the narrator being frightened because they've given the missed a sense of agency, as if it's actively trying to deceive, as if it has sinister motives. The rhetorical question, what use would that be, is something we could link to being frightened too, but a bit later on we see an example of sibilance with all was still and silent. Now that's definitely an acceptable method to write about, but the question is, how does that show the narrator's frightened or link to him abandoning the pony and trap to save himself? And the answer is, it doesn't really seem to. So analyse methods, but only in relation to the statement in the question. The biggest mistake to avoid in question 5 is to overcomplicate the plot in a narrative answer. AQA want you to create a strong sense of atmosphere through things like description of character and setting, rather than an over-the-top plot. So look at this example. This is The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge. The boat moved with a relentless rhythm like someone chewing on a rotten tooth. The islands, just visible through the mist, also looked like teeth, Faith decided. Not fine, clean Dover teeth, but jaded, broken teeth, jutting crookedly amid the wash of the choppy grey sea. The mail boat chugged its dogged way through the waves, greasing the sky with smoke. So what is actually happening here in terms of plot? The character Faith is on a mailboat and the water is choppy. But what is the atmosphere? It's oppressive and disturbing. And how is that achieved? Not through plot, but through language. That simile describing the boat's rhythm as being like someone chewing on a rotten tooth is incredibly disturbing. Then there's the emotive language, particularly in the choice of adjectives the author uses. The rhythm is relentless. The islands are not just like teeth, but jaded, broken teeth. The sea is choppy, grey. And then look at the verb choices. The mailboat is greasing the sky with smoke. What a fantastic choice of verb with connotations of pollution and contamination. The boat's not just travelling but actively spoiling the environment around it, and that adds to the oppressive and unsettling atmosphere. So often students try to create atmosphere through plot, writing about, Faith's on a boat and then a shark comes and attacks the boat and she gets a spear and it fights it and there's a huge, battle scene, and this is just over the top action. We don't need that. For one, when everything we write about is plot, 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 we don't get to know anything about our characters or our setting. So for the highest marks, we want to be subtle, and this is anything but subtle. No, what we want is for something relatively small to happen. For example, Faith is on the boat, traveling across the water, and we create atmosphere through our description. Now, if you found this video useful, please do subscribe to the channel. And remember, I have videos on each and every question in my Paper 1 playlist, which I'll link in the description.